All right, what's good? What's good, Bears fans? I know y'all miss me, but I'm back. But I'm back for now because I have a life, unlike some certain Bears fan that or claims to be a Bears fan, but you know doesn't really, isn't really a Bears fan. But I digress from that. Let's talk about Ashton Jeanty. Now, I was gonna make this video around February when it was talked about Ashton Jeanty to the Bears. And my thoughts about it was I wasn't going to do a video on it because I just feel um, what's the point of talking about a running back who is not because if y'all know me, I did a video I think 2 years ago about why the running back should not be an important need to a team that currently at the moment does not have an offensive line. And that my being is why, and here's why I think Ashton Jeanty would be a wasted pick for the Bears. So, am I saying it would be a wasted pick because he's not a good player? No, absolutely not. I think Ashton Jeanty is a very talented running back. Okay, he's arguably one of the best running back prospects coming out of the draft. And for him to do it to a team like Boise State, who hasn't had recognition in college to get to the college playoffs, okay, fine. He's done that for Boise State, let's be honest for a second. Boise State, no one has really heard about Boise State till this year for Ashton Jeanty. I mean, yes, he had 2,000 yards rushing. He should have won the Heisman, but they gave it to Travis Simp Hunter. But I digress. But I'm not using it because people I know people have narratives saying Ashton Jeanty played against terrible competition, which it's 50-50. He did have a good game against Oregon, and they were a missed field goal. They were a field goal away from ending Oregon's winning streak at the time. But neither here or there. I'm not saying the Bears should not draft. If the Bears would draft Ashton Jeanty, would I be fine with it? Yeah. No, because there are other important needs of the roster that need to be filled. And I see a lot of Bears fans, like I said, I don't want to call on names. I wouldn't tell them don't support them at all. But there are people like Swifty and trying to think, other YouTubers think that the Bears already have an offensive line because they traded for accusations of a good offensive line. No, just because your offensive line looks good on paper doesn't mean they're going to transition to it on the field. And even if Jeanty, because I see a lot of comparisons between him and is it Josh Jacobs? He's not going to be that why does that matter why should that matter when his offensive line gives up and before anybody says, well, the Bears didn't have a good running game last year. Well, no shit, they didn't because they had a bad offensive line. Okay, when DeAndre Swift was on the Lions, which the Lions have consistently had good offensive line before they even got Dan Campbell, DeAndre Swift was killing it because he had a good offensive line. And I think the same thing should be said about Roschon Johnson. He would be good if he had an offensive line to protect him. But because of the simple fact that the Bears didn't have an offensive line, the running backs didn't have their best year because and I've said this, offensive line matters. And I keep saying this like a broken record to every Bears fan because they think that Ashton Jeanty because he played with with not very good offensive linemen, mind you. But let me remind you, college is a lot different from the NFL, and it takes a lot of transitions. And the Bears are not technically in a Super Bowl contend in the Bears are not a Super Bowl contending team like it would be for Ashton Jeanty to go to. So it doesn't make sense because the Bears at this point don't have an offensive line, regardless what people say that, oh, but we just traded for this offensive lineman and this offensive lineman. We still have to prove it on the field. And I'm going to get to Ryan Poles in a different video. But I want to say this. I'm done with Braxton Jones. He is a mid-tier level offensive lineman, and he's also injured, so we don't know if he's even going to be the starter. And for people that said that they want Kareem Armaganji to be the starter until Braxton Jones returns, I'm sorry, but Kareem Armaganji didn't look like a starting offensive lineman when he first started. Well, and now I know, granted, he was a rookie, but he should prove that he shouldn't be belonged on that field. And people that are okay with a average to which Braxton Jones has been average for the most part in his time in Chicago. He's never been above average to an elite. He's just been an average offensive lineman for the most part. And that's a lot of the reasons why Caleb Williams got sacked a lot is because Braxton Jones, all you have to do is bull rush him and he'll fall like he'll fold like laundry. But I digress. Here's what the Bears should draft. And I know this is very unlikely, but if Will Campbell is there at number 10, I want the Bears to take him. And here's why. He's one of the best offensive lineman prospects in this year's NFL draft. And he's very one of the few. And playing for LSU, and LSU produces a lot of good offensive linemen. And the blind side should be more important to Caleb Williams. And also, people want to say, okay, well, if Will Campbell is a top 5 pick and he will likely go, who should be the backup option? Well, Josh Simmons should be the option, but I'm not saying that maybe taking him at 10 is a reach, but trading down and taking him would be a good option for the Bears because you want to know why. He was relatively good at Ohio State before, and I understand the injury is concerned, but he is more valuable than what Ashton Jeanty would bring to the Bears. Not to say that Ashton Jeanty's a bad player. It's just like I'll ask this question, and if Swifty comments, it is what it is. Name one team that has had a bad offense, that currently has a bad offensive line, and the running back, it doesn't matter. And he still has a season like Saquon Barkley did, because I'll use Saquon Barkley. Was Saquon Barkley, because this has been an argument for years, was Saquon a bust when he went to the Giants? At the time, yes, he was considered a bust because it was a wasted draft pick because the Giants did not need a running back. But they decided to take Barkley because they wanted to keep Eli Manning. And when Barkley goes to the Eagles, where the Eagles, he has the best offensive line in the NFL, he almost broke Adrian Peterson's record. And then you got Derrick Henry, who struggled on the Titans after his last two seasons, I believe. And you had Titans fans and NFL fans thinking that Derrick Henry was washed, but all of a sudden he goes to the Ravens, who have had a good offensive line, and he returns back to his old self. You want to know why? Because they have consistent good offensive line play. Then the Bears, as of right now, do not have a good offensive line. Caleb Williams was bound to get sacked more than Tim Couch. But like I said, I'm not going to get mad if we take Ashton Jeanty, but just know, Bears fans, we've done the same thing with David Montgomery. David Montgomery looked like a average to above average running back when he had a terrible offensive line, but all of a sudden when he goes to Detroit, he turns into an elite running back because Detroit has a good running back, has a good offensive lineman. But that's my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section down below how you feel about Ashton Jeanty, and maybe if you give me a reason why he would be good for the Bears, just let me know in the comment section down below. So as always, thanks for watching, and bear down.